Hello and welcome to the WriteCome.com podcast, where we help you to make money from your words. Each episode will be sharing tips, tricks, and strategies you can use to make more money from your writing, publishing, and marketing to your fans and audience. Let's get started with your host, Barry J. McDonald.
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode from WriteCome.com. And today's podcast episode is entitled Surrounded by Negativity. Now, this probably seems like a gloomy podcast episode. It probably seems like something you should fly by and move on to the next one. But I'm here to tell you that maybe it is one that you should listen to, in that, whatever goals you are looking to achieve in 2021, society as a whole doesn't want you to achieve them. Now, as you're probably well aware, as I said in a couple of podcast episodes back, unfortunately, there was a lot of negativity that was going into my head on the run up to Christmas, or I had let things kind of slip a little bit. I was paying more attention to the news feeds on Facebook and, content on news. And because of that, then I did find that I was kind of getting a little bit negative. I was getting a little bit depressed, in that every day I woke up, either an asteroid was going to hit Earth, a dictator was declaring that they were going to launch nuclear weapons all over the world, or there was a disease, or there was this or that, and every day I was finding I was getting up to a catastrophe, and it was really kind of grinding me down, in that I was thinking to myself, what kind of a world am I bringing my kids up in, that we probably won't survive the next 5 minutes, because there are so much things that we are going to either be killed by, get sick with, or blown up by, or whatever. But there was so much things that could go wrong, and it was kind of bringing me down. And because of that, then, as I said, I did start paying less attention to the news. I wasn't listening to it as often. I didn't get carried away or go down the rabbit holes that were on Facebook or on YouTube, and all the conspiracy theories and all the different things that was telling me that everything was going to hell in a handcart. And even though I was kind of trying to limit as much of that as possible and stay away from it, there is still a lot of negativity that's around us, and probably a lot of things that maybe are flying under your radar that you aren't even aware of. And I was just thinking to myself, it is really, really, as we head into 2021, I'm sure a lot of people have goals of losing weight, or starting businesses, or maybe taking up writing, or making more money. And while those goals are really, really great and are something that we should all support, society as a whole doesn't support them. Now, what I mean by that is something that I was made aware of many years ago by the great Randy Gage. It was something that he had said, in that we are surrounded by a kind of a datasphere, a negative datasphere, in that we are bombarded with negativity and kind of subliminal kind of negative messages on a regular basis that are kind of limiting us, that are probably maybe making us just kind of drop whatever goals we are looking to achieve, and just kind of going along with the herd, and just almost kind of getting into step with everybody else, and kind of just trotting along and just following whatever everybody else is doing. Now, probably maybe to clear it up a little bit more, Randy was just saying, the negative datasphere we are surrounded by is a lot of the kind of songs we listen to on a regular basis, in that, a lot of them unfortunately have a lot of negative stories in them. They have kind of negative lyrics in them, and you will find that a lot of those kind of negative songs and negative lyrics and all that, they do kind of get into your head, and they do kind of replay over and over again. Now, I was just listening to a song there this morning, and it was by Billie Eilish, and the song was called I'm Not Your Friend. Now, you might think to yourself, well, it's a little bit of a childish song, it's a bit of a melody, it's kind of a little bit addictive, and you are going to find probably over the next couple of weeks, I think it's only been released recently, I'm starting to hear it more and more on the radio, but you will find that song is probably going to get really, really popular. And the reason it's going to get really, really popular, in that it is feeding into something that is in society as a whole, in that we are very, very negative. And, when you do kind of maybe dissect a song like that, when the lyric is I'm not your friend, and you kind of listen to that lyric over and over and over again, you do probably, you do kind of wonder, what is it actually doing to your subconscious mind? What kind of negative images is it bringing up, in that nobody is going to be your friend, that we're all lonely, and we're all this, and we're all that. And it's not just kind of Billie Eilish, I'm not pinning all the kind of blame on her. There was another artist, I don't know what her name was, and she had brought a song out, and one of the lyrics that kind of come up in the chorus and is mentioned regularly is that she says, I am a loser, And the line she repeats then again, it's not just only she's a loser, but she says that she's a super loser. And I was just thinking to myself, my kids, if they were listening to a song like that on a regular basis, that kind of negative, affirmation going into the head over and over again, I'm a loser, I'm a super loser. And I just want you to think about that. What would that actually do to your self-confidence? What would it actually do to your kind of self-belief about yourself, in that you are a loser and you're super loser? Now, you might say to yourself, well, Barry, you are kind of, you're kind of shooting at shadows, whatever. Those things aren't going to affect kids. But I'm just saying to you, like, a lot of the negativity that has come into our minds, and it probably has maybe kind of limited us in the way we are, has been a lot of negativity we have received as we're growing up. Probably a lot of negativity maybe parents unfortunately had programmed into us over and over again, telling us that money doesn't grow on trees. I'm not made of money. It's hard to get money. You have to work hard to get money. And we have been fed those negative affirmations over and over and over again as we've been growing up. And that has led into whatever thoughts we have had about money right now, in that we probably think we need to work hard for it. We think that money doesn't grow on trees, that we aren't destined to make money because we have all those kind of negative limitations. And as I said, when you do have a lot of songs that have kind of negative affirmations like that coming up, I'm a loser, I have no friends and all that, you do kind of wonder what kind of a society will it kind of lead to in the future. How it's going to affect kids, and how it's going to affect kind of general people. And it was just as I was listening to that, I was just thinking to myself, it's really, really, it's not surprising that so many people don't make it to the top. And it's not just the songs we listen to too, it's also the TV shows and movies we are listening to and watching to. Now, my son at the moment, we have got Disney Plus, and he's been doing a lot of kind of binging on The Simpsons, probably like most kids do. And I was just thinking to myself, how many characters in The Simpsons is something that I would really wish for him to follow? Somebody who is, somebody that I would like him to kind of copy. Now, if you do look at The Simpsons, who is the main character in The Simpsons? Now, we have Homer Simpson, who, by virtue is a little bit of a dummy. He is always broke. He's always kind of going from one catastrophe to another. He doesn't seem to keep his job for long. And then we have the other characters that are kind of barflies that kind of hang out at Moe's. We have the two guys, Carl, and I can't think of the other fella's name, who work in the nuclear plant. And they're more like so Homer as well too. They're always depressed. They're always broke. They're always, again, while it doesn't go down to many of their storylines, they're in the same kind of situation as Homer, in that nothing really works out for them. And then we have Barney as well then too, is the alcoholic. And those are the kind of main characters in the TV show. And then we have the other people then who are successful in the Simpsons world. And the one person that probably is successful, or probably seems to be doing well, is Mr. Burns. And when you do think about Mr. Burns, what kind of a character is he? In that he is always conniving, he was always kind of sleazy, he's always sneering, and while he has the money, he doesn't have a happy life, that nobody likes him, nobody would do anything for him, but he has all the money in the world. And when you do kind of think about anybody in TV shows, in movies, anybody who is wealthy, now I want to give full credit to this idea, and that Randy Gage made me aware of it, many, many years back, and unfortunately I had let it slip. And again, as I've been paying more attention to kind of putting more positivity into my head, it's kind of brought it back up again. And, as I said, when you do kind of look for any role models in TV who are wealthy, how many can you think of offhand that are positive role models? Now, I'd be very, very surprised if you could name one or two from any TV shows. Even if you look at the old ones back in the 80s, the ones like Dallas, anybody who was wealthy was always kind of trying to bring each other's businesses down. They were always kind of cheating on their marriages. They were always kind of mean people. They never seemed to be happy. They were always going from one tragedy to another. And, even the kind of comedy shows, whatever comedy shows, pick whichever one was your favourite one. When you look back to the characters that we were supposed to respect, the people we were supposed to cheer on, they were always kind of the losers. They were always the people who were always broke, who never seemed to be getting ahead, whose society were kind of always kind of, doing bad things to. And the people that we were supposed to emulate, that we were supposed to want to be like, the wealthy people, were always people that we didn't want to be like. They were always the negative people, those people who were unhappy and were conniving, and we're always trying to bring everybody down. And it really is, as I said, while I have been paying less attention to the news, unfortunately we are still bombarded by a lot of negativity. And I just want you to think about that as you head into 2021. Whatever your goal is, while society wants you to be slimmer, while they want you to be wealthier, the fact is they don't really want you. Unfortunately, they want you to actually go the opposite way. In fact, if they wanted you to be slimmer, they probably wouldn't have as many kind of obese kind of ads that are going to make you obese on TV. You wouldn't probably have as many ads on TV for fast food, for Deliveroo, for McDonald's, for Domino's, for all those different things. And even on the run up to Christmas too, we have a chain of stores over here in Ireland and the UK called Tesco, and on the run up to Christmas they had run a line of ads which I assume have been really, really successful for them, in that they were promoting the kind of idea that 2020 has been a really, really bad year. We have really, really bad time, and because of that then, well, you shouldn't feel guilty then splurging out on drinking too much alcohol this year. You shouldn't feel guilty by eating too many mince pies or having too many kind of heavy desserts or kind of calorie laden kind of food, because this is the year that you can kind of eat it all guilt free. And, when you do think about that, is 2021 going to be any different? Probably people are going to have, maybe it's not going to be the big kind of clean slate maybe that we're going to have. We probably are going to have a little bit of a hangover from 2020. We're probably going to have some effects for coronavirus. But does that mean that we should eat out on the run up to, next year too? Should we kind of say, well, I deserve to eat out of the trough. I deserve to eat as much as I'm doing right now because, this year it has been a rough year, and I'm sure it probably has been really, really successful, and I'm sure that a lot of people have probably thrown the kind of diet in the bin and said to yourself, something, you're right, it has been a tough year, so I should pig out. So I just want you to think about that, all the negativity we're surrounded by, all the kind of negativity that's coming up in songs, the lyrics, the TV shows, the movies, and all the things we are bombarded with on a regular basis. And I want you to think about, does society really want you to be successful? And if you have been maybe kind of been blind to that, I'm sure it probably has it's been like the Wizard of Oz. I have pulled the curtain back a little bit and I've shown you what has gone on in the background. So maybe if you do find it a little bit tough 2020 or 2021, if you do find that maybe you're not getting as much support from your friends, or that your TV shows and everything is trying to turn you in a different direction, that is why it is doing it. Unfortunately, it's not wanting you to be successful. It's set up against you, and you are going to find that nobody is probably going to want to support you in the new year. And when you think about it, it's really, really surprising that so many actors make it to the top, so many athletes do get as far as they do when everything is stacked against them. So keep that in mind as we head into 2021. Now, I don't want you to be depressed or to get too kind of thinking maybe that you need to put a tinfoil hat on and that you need to avoid everybody and avoid all the songs and avoid all the TV and the movies and everything that's coming out. But maybe just kind of, maybe just keep it with your radar turned on. Just kind of be aware of the negative programming that it's putting into your head. And maybe when you are more aware of it, you can swat it away, or you can see it for what it is. And maybe it mightn't have as much a big effect on you when you do see it for what it is. So hopefully maybe that's helped you as we're heading into 2020, and maybe reinforce the idea that, maybe society doesn't want you to be successful, maybe as they are trying, or that they are letting you on that they want you to be. So as always, I hope maybe it's helped somebody today. If you'd like to know more about the podcast, or if you'd like to know more about me, or if you'd like to reach out to me, if you'd like me to cover something, or if you'd like me to maybe give me some comments or whatever on podcast episodes, feel free to send me an email. You can send an email to barryjmcdonald@gmail.com, or if you'd like to find out more what I do, hopefully I'm putting a little bit more positivity into the world, but I'm trying to help more people get into writing and creating. And if you'd like to find out more about that, or if you'd like to try out some of my courses or find out some of my content, if you do a search for Writecom, that's WRITECOME.com, you'll find the content all over Facebook, you'll find it on Google, you'll find it on iTunes, and it's all over the place. So as always, thanks for sharing your time again today. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more from the Writecom.com podcast, be sure to subscribe now for more tips, tricks, and ideas you can use to make more money from your words. See you in the next episode.